She catfished my sister pretending to be me. Now she's facing lawyers, losing friends, and learning what real consequences look like. When I first met Mia, she was the kind of person who could light up a room just by walking in. Confident, loud, a little chaotic, but charming enough to make you believe that chaos was part of her charm. I met her at a friend's game night, of all places. She was drinking white wine from a coffee mug, laughing so hard at her own jokes that people around her started laughing too. She noticed me watching, flashed a grin, and said, "You're quiet." I like quiet men. They're usually thinking something dangerous. I wasn't. I was just trying to figure her out. We started dating a few weeks later. She was passionate, affectionate, full of life, and also subtly paranoid. Every once in a while, she'd drop questions that didn't fit the moment. "Who are you texting? Your sister didn't like me, did she? Why did your mom look at me like that?" At first, I chalked it up to insecurity. Everyone's got their stuff, right? She said her last relationship ended badly. Her ex gaslit her, cheated, lied about her to friends. I wanted to be different, the calm she could trust. So I reassured. I explained. I soothed. And slowly, without realizing it, I started managing her emotions more than I was managing my own. Then came the first odd message. My sister, Claire, texted me. "Your girlfriend asked me some weird questions last night. About you. About Mom. Are you sure she's okay?" I asked Mia. She laughed it off. "Oh my God, I just wanted to know what your family thinks about me. You're so secretive sometimes." It didn't feel like a big deal at the time. Except Claire said they hadn't spoken in weeks. The next few months were quiet, mostly good, even. We went on trips, posted photos, played the perfect couple on Instagram. But then Mia's questions started again. More specific this time. "Did your sister ever talk about me to your ex? Do you think your dad likes me, or is he just polite?" Something in her tone changed, not curious, but calculating. One night, I woke up and found her scrolling through my phone. I asked what she was doing. She said, "I had a feeling you were hiding something." I wasn't. But in her world, that didn't matter. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. Made pancakes. Kissed me like she hadn't accused me of cheating in her sleep. That's the thing with people like Mia. Their chaos always comes wrapped in warmth. And by the time you notice the fire, you're already holding the matchbox. Then came that text. It was a Tuesday. I was at work. My phone buzzed. "Mia. So, don't be mad, but I kinda catfished your sister pretending to be you." I just stared at the screen. "Mia. Again, I just wanted to know if she talks trash about me." "She does, by the way." I felt something shift. Not shock, exactly, but clarity. This wasn't insecurity anymore. It was obsession, control, manipulation disguised as love. I replied only one word. Creative. That night, I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I just started documenting. Screenshots. Timestamps. The fake account. A copy of my profile, same photo, same name. DMs between me and Claire that Mia had initiated. Questions like, "Do you really think she's good for me? I know she said some stuff about you, right?" And Claire, bless her, never took the bait. I saved everything. Then, after work the next day, I drove straight to my parents' house. I sat in their kitchen and showed them everything. The texts, the messages, the fake account. Claire went pale. My mom whispered, "Oh my God." Then my dad said something I'll never forget. "Son, she didn't just lie. She impersonated you. That's illegal." And that's when things stopped being personal and started being serious. Claire called her friend, a lawyer. She explained the situation, sent over the screenshots, and within an hour, her friend confirmed. This qualifies as identity theft and defamation. She used his name to communicate false statements about another person. You can send a formal cease and desist immediately. The document was drafted that same evening. Mia received it 2 days later. She showed up at my apartment that night, pounding on the door, crying, yelling that it was a misunderstanding. "I just wanted to know if your sister liked me. That's not a crime." I didn't open the door. "Through the wood," I said. "You made a fake profile of me to start fights in my family. That's not curiosity, Mia. That's manipulation." She screamed, "You're overreacting." I said, "The lawyer didn't think so." Then silence. And then, the sound of her footsteps fading down the hallway. But it wasn't over. Not yet. Because when you corner someone who thrives on chaos, they don't apologize. They escalate. The cease and desist letter must have hit her harder than I imagined. Because the next morning, my phone exploded with messages, not from Mia, but from mutual friends. Dude, what's going on with you and Mia? She's saying you and your sister plotted against her. She posted something about toxic families that ruin love. And there it was, the classic flip. She wasn't apologizing. She was rewriting. Her Instagram story was a collage of vague posts. Some people can't stand to see you happy. Not everyone's family is as innocent as they look. I see everything now. Underneath, hundreds of supportive comments from people who only knew her online persona. The soft-spoken, slightly broken girl who just wanted love. I stared at those posts and felt something close to disgust. Not even at her, at myself, for ever feeling guilty around someone who could lie so smoothly. That weekend, I went to Claire's place. She looked exhausted but determined. She'd been saving her own screenshots, documenting every fake message Mia sent as me. She'd even discovered something I hadn't. Mia had made two fake accounts, one pretending to be me, another pretending to be Claire, to start arguments between us. The conversations were carefully curated, designed to look real. Little digs like, I don't think she's right for him, but I can't say anything. He's too good for her anyway. All invented. She was trying to fracture my family's trust, and mine. Claire's lawyer was meticulous. We organized the evidence into a timeline: dates, IP logs, screenshots, cross-platform activity. We even used reverse image searches to confirm the profile picture origins. By the time the file was ready, it looked less like a personal dispute and more like a digital investigation case file. Our lawyer suggested giving Mia a final warning before escalating. So we did. Claire sent an official message through her attorney. Cease and desist is still in effect. Further defamatory or impersonating behavior will result in a civil suit. We expected silence. What we got instead was a 3 a.m. email from Mia. It started with, "You've all turned him against me. You're disgusting." Then devolved into paragraphs of denial, projection, and self-victimization. But the most chilling line? "You think you've won, but I'm not done. I can make people believe whatever I want." And she wasn't bluffing. Over the next 2 weeks, she began messaging people we both knew, old classmates, co-workers, even my cousin, spinning a new story that I had created the fake accounts to test her loyalty. She claimed she caught me red-handed and that I'd used my sister as cover. I didn't engage. Not once. Instead, I quietly compiled everything, every lie, every screenshot, every timestamp. Because here's the thing about pathological liars. They always overplay their hand. They can't resist being seen. Then she made her final mistake. Mia posted an edited screenshot of one of her fake conversations online on a relationship advice forum. Except she didn't realize that the original metadata, the hidden data embedded in images, could be extracted. My friend Ethan, a cybersecurity analyst, helped me recover the metadata and trace it straight back to her device. Timestamp, model, IP, the works. That was all the proof we needed. Claire's lawyer sent one final notice, this time attaching a draft of the formal complaint outlining possible damages for defamation, identity theft, and emotional distress. Within 24 hours, all of Mia's posts disappeared. Her accounts went dark. She called me once, private number, and said, her voice trembling, "You didn't have to ruin me." I said, "You did that yourself," and hung up. The thing about narcissists like Mia is they can't process the idea that someone simply stopped playing their game. To them, silence isn't peace, it's punishment. Because without chaos, they have no control. So when I stopped arguing, stopped defending, stopped reacting, I became untouchable. Weeks later, Claire got a final message from Mia. Just 2 words. "I'm sorry." No context, no explanation. Just the echo of a life finally realizing it couldn't manipulate its way back into relevance. We didn't reply. Instead, we closed the file. Our lawyer archived everything. And we moved on. It took time, but the damage faded. Family dinners weren't awkward anymore. My sister started trusting again. And me? I learned a hard truth. Not all betrayals come from romance. Some come disguised as love mixed with obsession, control dressed up as caring. And when it ends, it doesn't feel like heartbreak. It feels like detox. Update 1. It's been about 2 months since the cease and desist. I thought that was the end, and honestly, I wanted it to be. But, of course, people like Mia never leave quietly. They need to curate their exit, make sure the narrative stays alive, even when no one's listening. It started with a long, emotional Facebook post, a wall of text written in her usual overly poetic tone. Sometimes love turns toxic when outsiders can't handle seeing you happy. I wasn't perfect, but I was never cruel. I hope one day people understand I just wanted to protect what was mine. No names, but the subtext was clear. I was the cold, controlling ex. Claire was the jealous sister. And somehow, she was the misunderstood victim, again. It's almost impressive, the mental gymnastics some people can do while burning the floor they're standing on. The part that would have made me laugh, if it hadn't been so exhausting, was when she claimed she never created fake profiles and that her accounts were hacked by a jealous relative. The irony? The same hacker used her personal email address to register the fake accounts. Our lawyer kept all that evidence, untouched. We didn't even have to respond. But the internet did. Within hours, the comments section turned against her. A few people, the ones who'd been around long enough, asked obvious questions. Didn't your ex have proof? What about the screenshots his sister posted? If it was a hack, why didn't you file a report? And when pressed, Mia deleted the post. Then reposted it again 3 hours later, slightly edited, softer, more victimized. This time she turned off comments. That's when I realized something. She didn't want closure. She wanted control of the story. And by ignoring her, I'd taken that away. In real life, I was doing better. I'd started therapy, not because of her directly, but because after years of walking on eggshells, I didn't know what a calm relationship with conflict felt like. My therapist, Dr. Voss, said something that stuck with me. When someone like Mia is out of your life, the silence feels uncomfortable because you've mistaken adrenaline for connection. That hit harder than I expected. For months, I'd been replaying arguments in my head, thinking of what I should have said, how I could have explained myself better. But the truth was, there was no better way to explain anything to someone who didn't want the truth, just control over how it looked. Then came something I didn't expect. Mia's apology video. Yes, an actual video. She posted it on TikTok and Instagram, sitting in her car, eyes red, voice trembling. I just want to say sorry to anyone I hurt. I didn't mean to cross any lines. I just loved too hard, and it made me do things I regret. It was vague, emotional, manipulative, like a trailer for a movie that never existed. People flooded the comments with sympathy. Stay strong. We all make mistakes. You're so brave for owning it. And I felt nothing. Not anger. Not satisfaction. Just distance. Because when you've lived through someone's performance up close, watching them perform for strangers feels hollow. A week later, I ran into her by accident. At a cafe near my office. She looked thinner, tired, like she hadn't slept in days. Our eyes met for a second, and she smiled. This small, guilty smile. Then she whispered, "I'm glad you're doing okay." I nodded. And that was it. No closure talk. No apologies. No rehashing. I walked out feeling light. That night, I deleted the folder, the one where I'd kept all the screenshots, evidence, recordings. I'd held on to it out of caution, maybe fear. But it was starting to feel like carrying a dead weight. If she ever crossed another line, I could rebuild the proof. But for now, I wanted my peace back. People like Mia feed on engagement. The best revenge isn't exposure. It's irrelevance. And for the first time in a long while, I was finally ready to let her have it. Final update that it's been almost a year since everything happened. A year since the fake profile, the cease and desist, the apology video, all of it. If you told me back then that I'd look back and barely feel anger, I wouldn't have believed you. I thought what she did would stick with me forever. But time, when you stop feeding the bitterness, the strange things. About a month ago, I got an email from my lawyer. Subject line: FYI, relevant update on the case. Inside was a short message. You'll be glad to know the impersonation report your sister's firm filed last year finally reached resolution. The perpetrator was issued a fine and a permanent online conduct warning under defamation and identity misuse. No further action needed. I stared at it for a while. No thrill. No victory rush. Just quiet. Mia had actually faced consequences, legal ones. It was small, nothing that would ruin her life, but it was real. And somehow, it didn't feel satisfying. I thought about what Dr. Voss told me months ago. Closure isn't when they pay. It's when you stop needing them to. I finally understood. I'd spent so long wanting her to see what she did, to apologize properly, to hurt like I did. But now, I didn't even want her name in my inbox. Life's been peaceful lately. I started a small design business with a friend. My sister's engaged. And yeah, I'll be giving the speech at her wedding. Ironically, she's marrying someone who works in cybersecurity, which we still laugh about. I'm dating again too. Slowly. Carefully. Nothing serious yet. But this time, I'm not looking for someone to fix the past. I'm just looking for someone who doesn't need me to prove I'm enough. Last week, I was scrolling through Instagram when I saw a post that made me pause. It was Mia, but not the Mia I remembered. No filters, no captions full of poetic self-pity. Just a photo of her volunteering at an animal shelter, smiling at a dog. I didn't like it. I didn't comment. But I'll admit, for a split second, I hoped she really had changed. Because as much as I hated what she did, I didn't hate her. I hated what she made me become while I was trying to keep her happy. I closed the app, made some tea, watched the city lights outside my window, and for the first time since all of it began, I realized something simple. I wasn't thinking about revenge, or regret, or how it could have gone differently. I was just there, in my own life, finally living it. It's strange how someone can cause a storm in your life. And one day you wake up and realize the thunder's gone. There's just calm. And that's not the sound of her being punished. That's the sound of me being free.